All right. All right, guys. Thank you for coming around. I am here with someone amazing. Just in case you didn't know, one of the faces behind the beautiful project and masterpiece that is gospel music. If you've not watched it, you're wrong. That's terrible. You should go watch it now. We want to give like some tea about how this whole thing came together, from conception till execution, everything. So if you like, just sit down, grab popcorn, and let's chat it out.
That works.
Here, Gaming, and I'm Kenneth, if you didn't know that already. And I just start by asking, for a production like this, start to bottom, what went into this piece?
It is your whole being, your whole creativity, whatever ideas that jump at you when you listen to the poem, which is what I ran with.
Yeah.
When I listened to the poem, it took me back to that era, back to Jesus's times, what it looked like, you get, and then listening to the piece and hearing the metaphors and all the different expressions that you had in there. It started painting pictures as to what would be best to represent what you were, describing. So I was just all about the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, amazing. And fun fact about how this went to be. I remember I had just woken up one night. I'd already told Gamey about what we wanted to do, and then this idea for what the soundtrack could sound like came to mind. I sent him a voice note, like just something Arabian, Middle Eastern kind of vibe. And the game was like, noted. And then I think it was the very next day or 2 days after, I can't remember, but almost instantly sent the first draft. And I was like, what am I listening to? In a good way. I was like, what are my ears hearing? It was like, I heard the guitars, I heard everything. We just decided to slow the tempo down a little bit, but how does that happen? Because it's, I don't think it's ordinary that you just pick an idea, you execute, and then your client is just like, this was basically the first draft, and we just slowed it down, and we were like, yeah, we're good to go with it. Didn't change anything. So
okay, so there are many factors that can make such a thing happen. Okay. One is experience, your history. Being able to really get into the people that you're working with to see things from their perspective.
Yeah.
And we have an history.
Exactly.
Right? So we could pull from that. That's one. And coupled with the fact that I'm also an artist, so I get to see things in a particular way. And thirdly, this is the most important, having the right hands on the job.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
So my producer, who he goes by the name Givens.
Yeah.
Now he's somebody that is very, very skillful.
Yeah.
Right? So when I get into the studio and communicate the ideas to him, he's like, say no more. Do you get? And then he gets it.
Yeah.
Do you get? And I think that's the homework of a creative person, people that can give you what you're asking. We don't want to waste time.
Yeah.
So we had to work on the sample recording, and then we started putting together what the sound should be like. It's just having the right team.
Guys, it was phenomenal. So one of the things about the piece is how musically inclined it is. In the sense that if you're a musician, by the way, if you're a musician, you play an instrument, I think more than the regular person, the piece will speak to you more.
Yeah.
You see the symbolisms, and when the sounds help your visualization, there's just nothing like that. And I'm telling you, on the first draft, it was already there. That's what really impressed me, that as we were still building, it was already there, and it just, oh my goodness.
I think it's that thing that happens when energies collide, right? And when you find that you have the same kind of values, right? The ideas, I vibe with the message, right? And, I could easily identify with it to see that this is what this message requires. This story, it should be carefully told. It should be told in great detail.
Agreed.
Right? So starting from the sound itself, we deliberately chose every element. When I was in the studio working with Givens, we're like, okay, he said this here. We should have a soundtrack represent that for everything. When you said the 4-note chord, okay, there should be a 4-note chord right at that point. When you were counting 1, 2, 3, 39, we had to make sure that the whips are in there, So everything is being interpreted, because you're telling a story.
Yeah.
And when people are listening to the story, they're going to start imagining stuff. But we are also going to give them a video.
Yeah.
So the video needs to communicate that to them. So they're not really doing too much work. They're just saying everything right in front of them. So from the audio, we have to get that done and then move it into the video.
Yeah. I think it's also so powerful how that even without watching it, if you listen to it,
It still gives you that say.
it's as if you're watching it.
Yeah,
It feels like you're in there in the moment. And I think
that's it. That's it.
beautiful.
So my turn.
Yeah.
How did you come by the idea gospel music
Yeah.
as a poem? Then how did you come up with talking about the crucifixion of Jesus and portray that with sound instruments,
Okay. I get you.
right?
Yeah.
So you get the two parts of the question. How did you do that?
It was one sunny afternoon. I was on my bed. I was levitating.
A Golgotha?
There were 5 angels in my room. Whoa. One spoke to me and said, one calls me Ken, by the way. He said, Ken, listen. Music. And then the other one said, gospel. Then third one said, gospel music.
With all the effects, right?
Beautiful, yes. It was, I wish that was the story. But no, it was basically just, we were starting a teaching series at church.
Okay.
It was about the gospel. I think it was called Rhythms of Grace. And initially, I was already thinking of what could I use, because I love music. I grew up playing the clarinet.
I know.
That was my first instrument. I played the saxophone, played the keyboard, the guitar, the bass. I just love instruments. I was like, how can I use that to paint the picture of grace? We had things like crescendo. We just had all of that in the teaching series. And then there was this one I was going to call gospel music. And I was like, before I teach this, I want to write a poem. I just felt inspired.
Whoa.
I just felt inspired to write about it. And from there, I was like, okay, what instruments can I put into this? I can put an accordion stretched across like an accordion. You stretch an accordion.
Yes.
You slam cymbals. And then just other things like, I think I used things like
Metronome.
something like that. Yeah, the metronome of footsteps,
Yes.
time signature, all those things. I was like, how can I weave it? And I spent, the teaching was the next day. So this was a Saturday. So I just said, let me just spend time. I think I spent an hour writing this.
Really?
Spent an hour writing it.
So you probably should be writing like
At least
poems.
I know, right? I should just be turning them.
Like yeah. You spent an hour.
It doesn't happen all the time.
Whoa.
Other pieces take much longer, but this
You carry a spoon now. Why don't you just rub the whisper?
that's actually what happened to me. You never know.
Because I mean, who does that? Like a poem is it's like 5 minutes long.
Yeah,
That's a lengthy piece.
it is. I think the only thing I adjusted was a line where I just moved around the words.
Wow.
Recording this.
That's amazing.
But yeah, since then, this was 2 years ago. I performed it before I actually taught. It was a service.
That's amazing.
I performed it and then taught. There was no music. There was nothing. So some of the OGs who had listened to it then and are hearing it now, they're like, how
did it come to be? Yes.
I need to represent the gospel in music. I want something that's timeless. And the reason why we released it around Easter is so that it could, I mean, this is the best
Time. Yes, it is.
for every believer. I think it's like the biggest celebration every believer should have. Death and resurrection of Jesus.
Of Christ, yeah.
And this is what that piece talks about, how the first ever gospel music was just, and it's a play on words, but it's like every sound at Golgotha on Calvary
Yes.
was musical, at least to the host of heavens, the plan of salvation that is now being actualized in person. This was music to their ears.
Sounds like you're doing another poem.
And you see as the dawn. But I wanted to add something.
Okay.
Because a lot of people don't believe me when I say we didn't go to Morocco and find something.
To do this.
I really don't believe it. What did we do? You tell them.
Okay. Big shout out to Ayomide McLean.
Oh yeah.
Big shout out to Ayomide McLean. We're really trying to get her to come, have this conversation with us and, just talk about how the whole thing happened. So as director and lead cinematographer for this project, my role was to communicate the creative vision to all the members of the team. So just like I did with Givens, the producer, I called Ayomide, and I was like, okay, we have a project on our hands. I need you to come in as the art director for this. So I gave her the vision, and she was like, say no more.
That's the catchphrase here.
I tell you, like, say no more. Like, you don't worry, I got you.
Yeah.
Right. So we danced around with a couple of ideas. She suggested what was playing out in her mind.
Yeah.
I remember that we had a different color in mind, right? Yeah. There was this gray color, but I was like, that's not the color that I see. I know I can be manipulative. I can take gray and make something out of it. It still would be a K. We shared different references from back and forth and all that. So I found a reference that really just communicated the vision, and then I sent it across, and she was like, Rich Brown, yes, this is it. And so she got our team together.
Yeah.
Our direction, now they collect all the money. You people just know that now, right? Don't blame the director or the cinematographer. It's the art director, our directors. People will tell you that sometimes movie productions, art direction can take about 70% of the budget, because art direction really is, that world, it creates that whole thing, right? So, but anyway, she got the team together and they built it from scratch.
Yeah.
So they requested for some days to come in earlier to build. And I didn't have to go see what they were doing, right? All she needed to do was to send me, like pictures, videos. This is where we at. This is what we're building. And on the day, we came through and I was like, okay.
I saw it.
Okay.
Okay.
It was good.
It was crazy.
It was good. It was good.
Just for perspective, it was in a room, a large room.
Yeah.
And it was made of what's this thing called? Styrofoam.
Styrofoam, yes. So they get to see clips from behind the scenes, how it was made. So it doesn't so you don't have to keep wondering how did it? Is it lie? Is it lie? I mean, someone wrote on IG that. You saw that? What? Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yes.
And then the lanterns were real. Yeah. Like everything, even up until when we did the B-rolls, guys, everything, there was no stock footage that we got from the internet.
No, there was no stock footage.
Everything was done live.
Yes.
Direct with the powder, with the...
I got the idea to use music instruments and not just musical instruments now. We decided to go for instruments that are timeless.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And depict the ones that are not timeless as timeless. Right? So when you talked about a 4-note chord, that's most likely the instrument that would portray that is going to be a piano. Even though not the only piano they play chord. You get, but people would easily identify with a piano there. But then I'm not going to show you a digital piano, right? And have you asked for how much to rent a grand piano?
Actually, that was part of it. I was like, budgets. Let me calm down.
You get. So we were like, okay, and I communicated to you the instruments that we would need, stuff like that. And I was like, if we're going to use a piano, it's just going to be the black and white keys. We're not going to show anything beyond that. Just the hands, which were your hands, by the way. Yeah. So hands on the black and white keys, and that's enough. Yeah. Right? That's enough. So everything was thought out. The instruments we used the piano, we used the guitars. Yeah. Right? And we had Givens play the guitar. So I was like, I just don't want hands playing the guitars. There should be a story. Yeah, there should be a story about those hands. So we had, we wanted bandages. We wanted, it shows like this guy's been through. Because Jesus did go through. He did. You get? Yeah. So the hand that's playing the instrument to you, it's got this character to it. Yeah. Right. And when you see the drums come into play, we wanted dust. We wanted that dusty effect. Yeah. And we thought like, okay, we're going to get all this B-rolls in black and white because that is the way it stays timeless. Right. So we're marrying a monochrome look with color in a moody tone, right? Yeah, that's what, and then make sure that it's cinematic.
Absolutely.
If you don't say cinematic, you're not a cinematographer. You got to bring that in. You got to say cinematic.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Let's say it now so that I can judge it.
Well, for the dramatic effect. Hey, that's what's up.
All right.
So what was your first impression when I mean, you'd asked me a few times, like, give me when am I going to see this video? Because I was teasing you. You try. I was teasing you, like, I'll post on my status, post the screen,
Yeah.
show you what's going on, right?
Yeah.
And then you're like, give me, when am I going to see this thing? Like, can I get to see this thing?
When I saw this video, guys, I kid you not, and this was not even like the 4K version. It was just the small. I was at the office at the time. I just said, you know what? I need to take a break. Special room. And just watched it like 5 times in a row. I watched it. I was like, I got headphones, watched it. Without headphones, watched it. Sat down, watched it. My expectations, guys, they were exceeded. I mean, by all means, if they had the budget left to me, I would have skydived from the With the budget we had and the timeline, guys, I'm telling you, there was no better time, no better team, no better production that could have made this possible at the time that I did. I was blown away. Immediately, I sent it to my wife, sent it to my brother as well, just to get their feedback. The same thing. They were blown away that this is a masterpiece. And man, it's just kudos to you and the team.
Yes, the team. The entire team.
They are geniuses, guys. They are geniuses. If you, and I'm not, they didn't ask me to do this. If you want something better than what I've done, even, and you're a creative, whatever kind of creative, reach out to Upper Productions, reach out to them. They're not so expensive. Maybe I'll give you a discount. Maybe we'll do a discount code.
Okay.
I don't know, whatever it is. And money in prices. But I mean, you guys reach out to them. They're accessible. And I kid you not, they are. Sorry, I know you didn't ask. They're the kind of people that they tell you what is achievable. You tell them what you want. They listen to you, and with such humility. Right? It's not like, oh, I have the years of experience. Let me tell you what works. It's, we hear you, we advise if this is the route you want to go, this is how best. And then somehow you find a way, you meet each other and magic. And I think that's the best way to work. I love people who are down to earth. For most of the video and the recording, we were just having fun and laughing and playing around, and it was amazing. So my first impression was yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes, that was my first impression.
Love to hear it.
Yeah.
That's good. Woo!
What was your favorite part about working on this?
I get to shoot this video, like I get to capture this story because we have a masterpiece on our hands.
Yeah.
It's the entire production for me. I don't know what I like best.
Yeah.
Right? If it's the shooting or is the editing, I give it my 100% regardless.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm just about the entire process, and at the end of the day, seeing that satisfaction on the client's face, right? That this is what we have done, right? That's really what's on my mind. So every part of the work is just as important to me. It's kind of like a favorite. Like, so the shooting is my favorite, then we get to the editing, then the editing is my favorite, then we get to that other part. That's how it works.
Amazing. So just leading up to that, like, who's your favorite client?
Oh, bro. We'll be right back after this city. I'm gonna go to commercial break now. Pause for the effect.
No judgments.
No. I don't. We don't. You don't want to disclose all our clients. We have an NDA with quite a number of people, so we really don't. We don't allow it.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's me, right?
That's it. How did you prepare for the shoot? We had to do both audio and video, so it was like a live performance.
Yeah.
Kinda.
Yeah.
Right. How'd you prepare for that?
I think first thing I'll say is thank God it was at the same time. Because I think a lot of people don't realize how much work it is for spoken word if you're going to overdub with a lip sync. if you have a beat and it's rap, it's easy. Yo,
Yeah.
I put the
There's a tempo to it.
and the tempo.
Yeah.
Thinking there's music, there's
Yeah.
but if it's spoken word,
It's speech. Yeah.
talking, so it's like hitting every time in every cadence at the exact same time. When we tried that on a previous project,
Yeah.
it took a lot. To prepare for this, I had 2 weeks to keep memorizing the lines every single day. And Gamey would be like, bro, hope your lines are ready. And rehearsing and rehearsing and rehearsing. It got to a point where I was almost not sick of it, but it felt like I was becoming numb to the feelings of it.
Okay.
But I think by the time we got to recording, I think the emotions came back again.
Yeah.
Heart just went out to make sure like we nailed exactly what we want you to see. We deliver it that way. So that's kind of, I loved it.
This is spoken word,
Yeah.
right? And we want to be sure that we're telling a story that engages people. And we want to have multiple takes, multiple camera angles,
Yeah.
so that we can cut. We want to tell a story that engages people from start to finish. You know, you really have the battle against attention span here, right? So that is the reason why we had to really sit with it. Like, how are we going to retain the people's attention to listen to the story from start to finish?
Yeah.
And so it meant that the performer yourself, you're going to have to sit and do the performance over and over again. It was tiring.
Yeah.
Right?
Action. It had begun.
Let's start again from the beginning. I want you to be more convincing.
Yeah.
All right? Right? And then because to your face, so your emotions should show. All right. So take 4. I had to pay extra attention to details
Yeah.
to ensure that you're hitting your performance for every take.
Yeah. And just thinking about it, you in the post-production, there's a lot of work that's going to go into there. With the cuts to make sure that my tone is consistent.
Yes.
And also to make sure that the backtrack we already had, the soundtrack, still matches the performance on top of that. So like, what was that chaotic experience?
It was chaos. It was chaos in a good way.
Oh yeah.
That's where you need to really love what you do. That's where that comes in, like the ability to stay with something and to really, really be into it. And I think coupled with the fact that I'm also a recording and performing artist.
Yeah.
So I know what it means to perform and to be on that particular momentum, right, for each performance. I know what the energies should be like. So when I had the entire project on the timeline, I had to listen to every performance. So started piecing everything together, listening to your tone.
When you have creatives, not even just Christian creatives, but creatives in general, who have all these gifts within them to share with the world, as the saying goes from the scriptures, money answereth all things. Like, you cannot do big things without money. Money moves things, to be fair. Resources, financial resources. And so I just wanted to remember that when something like this comes out, like a lot of resources
has gone into it. Yeah.
And it's easy to watch a 5-minute and say, this is amazing. I wish I could share with you the budget. I don't know if I'm allowed. A lot of money. A lot of money. And rightly so. It's not like they over-inflated it or, exaggerated the amount. It made sense for everything. But when we now put it out into the world, guys, the only thing we're asking is, if you want to give, great, beautiful, like give, and your giving means we are able to do more. It helps. I'm not earning a living from this. This is just me sharing, hoping to bless someone. But the next best thing to do is to share. Like, just share with people.
Yeah, spread it.
Yes.
Let people see it.
Let people see it. Let it get the traction it deserves. And from that, more opportunities for more will come. But yeah, I think I'll just ask me this, like, in all your production, how have you found, because you're very artistic, he is a rapper, spoken word artist, songwriter, singer, producer, I mean, the list goes on. How does that begin to influence something like this, every production? How have you found that it influences how you, especially from the spoken word angle?
No knowledge is lost. It's no waste.
Yeah.
Right? What I do now, I've delved for the Twitter people. More into filmmaking now. And I look back and see that the history, me being involved in music, production, performance, and all of this, is part of the things that makes people have a very, very rich experience when I tell my stories visually, right? Because I'm able to pull from all of that knowledge into this. So it just really makes sense to me that, God, this is what you were doing the whole time. Like you were just kind of like bringing all the pieces together to make it make sense, right? And I'm not like, and I'm like, I don't even think this is the final bus stop, because I'm an evolving artist. I've kind of like come to terms with that. With that expression, that I use the word multi-faceted artist, but really I'm an evolving artist. I'm always changing, and all of this experiences add up to what people get to experience when we get on projects like this. Kudos to the team, because teamwork makes the dream work. Really, it took a village, right, to make this happen. You know, communicating with people. My brother Dari, the creator, the visual effects, that's lights, the elements you see at the beginning when you said action.
It had begun.
And the beauty of this work is when you don't do too much, less is more, right? You don't say because we can do it, let's pump everything into it, you know. It's just understanding what the story should have in the time that it should have it, and just keep it at that.
How do you know when it was too much, like in making it? How do you know where the line?
Where not the line? I'm not supposed to cross. I think the story is clear, right? The story communicates that. If anything, experience has made me understand how a production is supposed to be, right? So right from when we're putting the sound together in the studio, you know, we are able to tell that, okay, this is it. Like, there's some things you don't need to put another sound effect to. You just let it flow that way, right? Because too much of everything can mess up stuff. So you just know, okay, your ancestors would tell you. That's when you sprinkle salt into what you're cooking, and you're like, you don't do that kind of thing. So that's how it is.
Thank you so much for this today.
You're welcome.
I look forward to making more masterpieces with you.
We look forward to doing that with you too.
Yes, guys, go stream Gossip Music like 20 times this week.
Yeah.
What am I saying? 20 times?
Like maybe 50.
Maybe 50.
50. 50.
And subscribe to this channel. Give a shout out in the comment as well to Upper Room Studios. Without them, I wouldn't be able to have done this amazing work. So thank you guys. We love you so much. Thank you, and stick around for more.